Evening, welcome to the Zoom meeting of the Ware Board of Selectmen for April 5th. Start with a roll call. Chairman Hippler, Vice Chairman Meany.
Here.
Selectman Burdick.
Yeah.
Selectman Osborne.
Yeah,
Selectman Van.
I'm here.
Gang's all here. Okay, we'll move forward. Public comment. Any public comment? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is department head committee items. And I believe it was Chase for the boat ramp and the tree planting. Recognize Lisa.
Hi. So we met last Friday night, and I think the general consensus was none of us are thrilled with putting asphalt in the water, but it seems like that's probably the only option that we can afford for this year. That was going to work. So that was pretty much it. The tree planting wasn't really decided, I guess, at this point. We were waiting to know what kind of trees there were.
Okay. Naomi, did we get any timeline on that Arbor Days planting?
Yep. So I reached back out to, as I was on Friday night with them, I reached back out to Corey Keefe at Eversource, and he said in regards to the tree species selection, it strictly depends on what the nursery has at the time of the planting. However, we shouldn't run into any issues getting and I'm going to spell this, Kousa dogwood, which is a small growing tree, has camouflage bark similar to a sycamore, and or some variety of a maple, oak, pine, which is a large growing variety. Out of these options, let me know what you prefer and I'll request it from the nursery.
So we were definitely hoping not for pine.
No, me too.
Yeah, so I would think that any of the leafier trees that would be shade trees would be better. That's my opinion, and I think it's also the opinion of everybody else on Park.
Okay, so Park was in favor of a tree pending the species, I'll say.
Absolutely, we were thrilled.
Okay.
So
right,
what I've done, Ricky, is what they'd like to do, Lisa, and I'll share it with you guys at your meeting, is Arbor Day is actually April 30th. So what they'd like to do is actually plant the two trees on April 30th, which is a Friday.
Mhm.
It's Eversource, Asplund, and there's, I'd like one or two board members and Parks and Rec if we could all be there, because that's what they want to do. They've picked us as the town. So I don't have a time, but he also asked if we could, Lisa, put where we'd like to put the trees, if we could put a stake or something, so they know.
Sure. So the only problem with an April 30th date is that it's smack dab in the middle of school vacation. So I know I will not be available. I won't be in the state for that. And I'm not sure what the rest of the Park families are doing. I'd be happy to be available. If I was here, I would be there. But we can definitely stake it. We had tossed around the idea of having something at Bolton Park as well. So if there's more than one tree, maybe one at Chase and one at Bolton. So we'd need to figure that out.
Yeah, I'll let you guys, I guess Parks and Rec can figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. All right, and so you guys are, Park is okay with the boat ramp repair as far as moving forward to that, the maintenance line?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so before we leave that, I think we should probably make a motion. So I'll move that we expend $1,000 from the grounds maintenance line from Parks and Recreation to repair the boat ramp by DPW. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, roll call. Chairman Hippler, yes. Vice Chairman Meany,
Yes.
Selectman Burdick,
Yes.
Selectman Van,
Yes.
Selectman Osborne.
Yes.
Naomi, I know you stepped out, 5-0 vote for a motion to repair the boat ramp up to $1,000 from the maintenance line from Parks and Recreations.
Who made the motion? Who seconded, please?
I made it, and I believe Jack seconded
Okay.
Correct.
sorry. I just had to send 4 dogs out before you listened to them all night.
it. I saw you step away. I figured that was where it was at. So,
And I had to make sure there wasn't a big black bear out back because we've had him around, so.
yeah, you're just hungry. So, okay.
Naomi, can I ask, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can I ask about those trees again? Can you give me the list real quick? I didn't write them down.
Well, he only said he could do a KOUSA dogwood, which he said is a small growing tree that has camouflage bark, and it's similar to a sycamore.
Okay,
And the other variety has is maple oak or pine, which is a large growing variety.
okay.
Just he said which one would work better, and he can request it at the nursery ahead of time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, does the board have anything else for Park?
I just have one, one thing, maybe, I know you don't want a pine tree back up there because you cut some of them out, but you probably don't want an oak either because you're gonna have oak, you're gonna have acorns everywhere in the fall. So somebody will have to clean that up.
Makes
So maybe you
sense.
want to do a maple. And if Naomi puts it in fairly soon, hopefully you can get a couple of maples.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. About the,
Less maintenance
about the,
better.
Okay, I can request a maple or 2 maples.
2 maples, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, just somebody need to let me know when it's staked out and I'll let them know.
Yeah, I think that what they're talking about is maybe one at Chase Park, maybe,
Mhm.
there's a couple different spots at Chase Park we'll have to talk about, and then one at Bolton.
Okay,
shade.
just let me know when they're staked out and they want to just kind of see what they might have for issues, but.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, move on to the Conservation Commission intro and membership considerations. Recognize Chairman Fulton.
Thank you, Chairman Hippler. Good to see you, Vice Chair Meany, Selectman Burdick and Van, Selectman Osborne. I'm Andy Fulton. I'm the, I guess you could say, longstanding chair of the Conservation Commission. And tonight I have with me our secretary, Michael Camacho. He is the 3rd of our 3 officers in the Conservation Commission. Vice Chair Steve Nager is tied up with the work obligation and unfortunately hasn't been able to join. I don't know whether he might be later, but hopefully we just have a few minutes to talk. We've worked on the town's behest on a number of issues over the years, managing the forests, looking to work with willing land owners or sellers in procuring conservation lands, town forest. And we've got a good group of people. We're currently looking at a full slate of members, and we've got room as I look at our membership for alternates at this point. We do rely on you guys to renew memberships and confirm memberships, of course. And just for a little bit of history, the Conservation Commission was voted into existence per state law back in the, I believe it was 1967 or thereabouts. So as we look at what we do, we coordinate with the planning board. We serve as an advisory body, at your pleasure. If there's issues that that are concerned to you in the conservation realm, we're a body to help you out if possible. And we have land management issues that we try to coordinate, and appreciate your input and your role in that also. We do have Selectman Burdick on our commission as a full member. That's pretty helpful to have some coordination between the board and the commission. And, we look forward to a good 2021, hopefully doing good things for the town, working through some issues on contracts and as we did last year, sometimes we do the land purchase and your buy-in or your role in that's critical. So I really appreciate that. I don't believe we've met Selectman Van yet, and otherwise you've had a pretty stable board there for a couple of years, a few years, and we look to be good partners, and as I say, an advisory commission to help you guys out as well as to certainly ask things of you now and then that are appropriate. Just by way of introductions, especially to Selectman Van, my background is in geology. I'm a New Hampshire professional geologist, and I work for the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services in the groundwater realm, primarily on managing cleanups at petroleum stations, as well as home heating oil spills, and also deal with water treatment and getting folks clean drinking water. So I'd just like to introduce our secretary, Michael Camacho, and by coincidence, he's also employed at New Hampshire DES, but I'd like you, Mike, to introduce yourself to the Board of Selectmen and just a brief manner, and any other thoughts you have to share as our role in working with the board.
Sure. How you doing? I'm Mike Camacho. I've met most of you. I've been with the commission for 2 or 3 years now, and I just think it's important to have people working for the town to preserve, its heritage, its land, and I do my best to try to keep the feel that it has in the past moving forward. I enjoy working with all the folks I work with, and they're helping me out along the way, learning all the little intricacies of contracts and forest management and things of that nature. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully many more years of doing this.
Your background, Mike?
Yeah, so I work for Department of Environmental Services. I'm in the air pollution field. So I basically make sure entities are polluting correctly, is a way to put it. And we're trying to lower emissions in the state of New Hampshire. We're doing pretty well here. For college, I spent a lot of time in aquatic biology, limnology, and just a few courses in forestry. So Steve and Andy have really been good guides in that path.
Yeah, well, Mike's still a relatively short timer, but we convinced him recently to step up to the role of being an officer, being our secretary, and in that role, if the chair and the vice chair are not present for a meeting and the other members are available, we can still hold a meeting as a secretary can temporarily serve as a chair for a meeting. And so that's an important role. Of course, minutes are bugaboo all the time, and we appreciate the help that Administrator Bolton has extended to us. We're always challenged there, and Mike has done that duty for us, drafting and keeping some minutes for us. So On to membership. We recently had a renewal in Selectmen Burdick as a full member, and we have another expiration coming up here in April. So I'd like to forward my recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that member Lori Davis get reappointed to the Board of Selectmen. Lori's been learning very rapidly and a fully engaged member on the commission. We welcome her continued involvement and hope that that come meeting in 2 weeks that her nomination would be put on the floor and her membership be considered. And if there are things we need to talk about, I'd like to be available to that meeting and we can hash out any concerns. If for some reason that's not to happen, I guess I'd ask for the courtesy of hearing why it wouldn't be a good idea. And I would just like to appreciate or express appreciation for support and membership. And conversely, if we do have issues with our membership, I hope we can have a honest public discussion about standards that aren't being met. If the standards are being met, then I'd like to understand or have the expectation that our expression for membership to continue would be honored. And I know there are others who express interest in the commission, and I would invite others to join as join right away as an alternate. When we don't have a member present, the alternate's able to step up and become full voting member. It's a position that hasn't been exercised in that role to this point. I believe Lisa's still with us. Lisa has, from the prior item, has been an alternate, and in a pinch, an alternate who has the experience that she has can step up and make a meeting work that otherwise might leave a cancellation on the slate, on the calendar. So I appreciate alternates, and hopefully going forward we can keep a full membership and even add a couple alternates to the mix.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your time, Andy and Mike. Thanks for the introduction. And like I said, I know there has been some, I don't want to say friction, but there's been some miscommunications and drop communications in the last few years. And I think that we've improved our communication drastically in the last year or so. So again, I do appreciate you two coming in and again, in your contribution to the town and obviously the state, both of you. So any other members have anything to say to the Conservation Commission members that are here? Okay. All right. So
I'd also like to address Naomi's recommendation to try to bring memberships onto a regular renewal, at first meeting after town meeting, and try to streamline things that way. I think that's a discussion worth having, but it's something I would like to see, if it's going to go that way, see it exercised gradually, gradually and with a discussion beforehand, so that we're not sort of crossing our leads and sparking when we feel like a member's expired, who there might be a difference in opinion as whether there's actually an expiration. So if that is something the Board of Selectmen feel strongly about, then let's have that discussion and see how we can bring our membership schedules or periods into alignment with something along those lines.
Okay. All right. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if that's a decision the board wants to make and try and move forward with that, like I said, I'm sure there'll be some kind of a gradual ramp up implementation to it. Wouldn't be, I would like to hope it wouldn't be sudden, but, or at least see how it would transpire anyways, when that day comes.
So Ricky, can I have a chance for a second? So Andy and I'd swapped some emails with Andy and Steve and the group. We went through this before. There is a lot to try to remember everybody's expiration at the same time. So the only thought that, we talked about is as you guys change hands, which is you guys all decide after the election what committee you take. So to try to tie them all together, which I understand some have state laws tied to them, others not so much, that to try to make them at the same time. That was my only point, because then you got to run a calendar and go through everybody's appointment paper and say, okay, your expiration is April something, yours is September something, yours is May something, yours is July something. It was just an effort to try to, but the RSA pointed out again, at least the conservation one, that the expiration has to be 1, 2, or 3 year terms, and that you also have to have a third, and a third for the makeup, which we really don't have. We don't have the third and a third and a third. We just kind of added everybody at once and gave them all a 3-year expiration at one point. So we need to fix that going forward anyway. But it was just, I got a whiteboard down in my office. I can write it on the wall. I can do whatever to make the 3 years work. It was just an ease of where you guys select your committees that you're going to be part of. And then you've appointed everybody that was up this year. It was just making it streamlined. But as I said, I understand the RSA 36A, conservation is a little bit different. So if we have to remember the Conservation Commission members, I guess so be it. But the idea was to kind of streamline it like everybody else.
And honestly, we're not asking, and we're definitely not demanding to be different. We're just trying to hold to what, I think Naomi pointed out it like any law, there are any statute, there are elements one does better with and elements one doesn't do as well with. And as a commission, there are a number of items there that Naomi pointed out we could do better with. But we do, when we have questions of membership or we have questions of, appropriate activity, we do try to go back to the statute that enabled the town to set up a commission in the first place. And so in trying to be true to that, it does sound like some adjustments might be in order, and maybe Naomi and the commission can come up with a plan to maneuver gradually, perhaps membership into better alignment with the goals of the statute, and trying to understand what those goals meant, probably for a staggered membership, so that you're not looking at a structural turnover of membership and losing perhaps a history in the operational efficiency of a group.
Yeah, most of the makeup of all of the committees really should be a third, and a third, even though the selectmen do it because of elections. Conservation could do 3-3, 3-3-2. There's all sorts of things that we can do, and that's why the selectmen do 2, 2, and 1, so that not everybody doesn't leave at once. I think it's great common practice, just so you have everybody stay.
I guess one thing I'd like to leave with is Chairman Hippler, can we expect that our expiring member might be renominated or that her membership might be forwarded by the Board of Selectmen, or is there reason to expect otherwise? Because we've never encountered an issue where one of our proposed renewals is not acted on.
Right. I don't honestly know. And the reason I say that is because it obviously takes a nomination, a second, and a board vote.
Right.
The other week, there was no nomination. So it can't be seconded and it can't be voted on. So if the board's consensus has changed, then the possibility is there. If the board's consensus hasn't changed individually, then I don't know. Like I said, hard saying to not knowing.
Is there anything I can do to make that easier on the board?
Not for this individual.
Okay.
But again, I'm only one member of the board. Kind of the spearhead of the board.
Okay,
Somebody-
so we know that we shall we say a slot on the agenda for the 19th regarding an expired membership and a recommendation for renewal. Did I also, Naomi, understand that there is a potential joint meeting issue brewing?
I don't know that I would say it that way. I did send you guys the Forester contract that we had been waiting for Laura. And then Laura did send me one from Northwood. I think the consensus was that Laura provide us something. So I changed Northwood to where I changed the logging company to who we have now. And my thought was that you guys have a meeting next week. Is to let you guys, and Jeremy's gotten a copy as well because Steve asked me to send him one, so I did. So you guys would look at it, talk about it, and then, we gotta have a starting point somewhere. So you guys could talk it over, see what your thoughts. I mean, as well as I do, there's no template that works for every single town.
Sure.
So it was a starting point for basically a conversation. You remember we all got together last year and there was, or not, probably more than a year ago because the pandemic's been with us for a year, but we talked about, it was a 1 year and then I think the thought was thrown out there as 10 and I believe we compromised at 5. So I didn't put the time frame on there, but it was really, Andy, just a starting point. That's why it says draft on it. And the thought was that you guys could get together, decide what you guys, and if it fits, do we need to add something or not? And then obviously we would get together at some point. And then once we've settled on a contract, we would then get Laura to review it again because we may add or change. And then we could execute it from there. So I think it's in the future, yes, but I guess I wanted you guys to have the first run at it.
All right. No, it's not time to schedule anything like that.
Not right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be taking that up next week and
Sure.
get that step taken. Thank you for pulling that together and having something with Laura's input.
All right. Okay then. Well, like I said, thank you again, Andy and Mike, for coming down to the meeting. Coming down, listen to me, like we're talking, like we're actually in the office.
There we go.
And coming to the Zoom meeting, and again, expressing your concerns to the board. Like I said, I think the open line of communication is always the best way to get things done. So.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
Good night.
Okay, we'll move on to discussion regarding House Bill 111. And I think that we.
House Bill 111 has been tossed around. I believe I shared it with you guys and it kind of talked about a little bit of, it's kind of a takeoff of what the police, they were looking to do with the police. What's that, qualified community? Whose phone is that?
Who's got the choo-choo?
anyway, so I reached out to all three representatives. Leah had to work tonight. She couldn't make it. Keith had already committed to the John Stark deliberative session, and I didn't hear from Gary. And basically what Keith wrote back to me tonight a little after 5 and said he just has a little bit too much on his plate tonight to attend. And he said the current status of House Bill 111 is it's on the consent calendar. It's been pulled from the consent calendar, which means it will be taken up last. There are over 150 bills on the calendar that are not on the consent calendar, and more are coming off. And this includes 2 budget bills, which will likely take a day all to themselves. The bottom line is that it's unlikely we would even complete the calendar as it stands in the next 3 days, which means it wouldn't get to any bills pulled off consent. If that happens, the bill disappears for this year, as Friday is the deadline for them to complete the bills. So it sounds like it may not be going anywhere, but I don't know. He said there is a possibility that it could be special ordered to a point either in the process. Not sure the likelihood of it. It does require a vote to do that. So it's not much about it. It's just kind of about the process. I guess the end of the year comes after the next 3 days. The 9th is, I think, of the end.
Hey, Naomi, for the benefit of the citizens that are going to be watching this on YouTube, can you just cliff notes what is House Bill 111?
I knew you might ask me that. So I'm going to find the email. House Bill 111 had several parts to it. I shared it to you guys in an email. Hang on. Brought my legislative bill home for a reason. I hate to just read it for here, but so it says that people are confused about House Bill 111, and it says the background. It says that the issue begins with a federal statute which allows a person to sue a government official or employee when it's claimed that the official/employee committed an act that violated the person's rights under the U.S. Constitution. A typical example is a claim that a police officer barged into a house and seized it without a warrant, thus violating the resident's right to freedom from unreasonable search and seizures under the 4th Amendment. Qualified immunity, sorry, let me back up. So the discussion of the bill is really centered around this qualified immunity and why it should or should not be eliminated. So the bill, I guess, has much more to do with the eliminating of it than the keeping it. So qualified immunity is, the courts have developed a doctrine called qualified immunity, which protects a government official or employee from liability if the official or employee's conduct does not violate clearly established statutory or constitution rights, which a reasonable person would have known. Goes on to tell you that many people have criticized qualified immunity because courts have applied it very generously, holding that under the previously established standard, immunity applies if the specific conduct was not previously been determined to violate the Constitution, regardless of how outrageous it may be. There's a whole bunch. It talks about the limits of qualified immunity, and then beyond qualified immunity as far as official immunity. There's just an awful lot. I don't know. It
All right,
talks about House Bill 111 does not eliminate state-leveled qualified immunity.
Maybe,
It's very, very detailed, and it's been changing according to what I've been reading. I mean, there's like 3 pages here, so I'm not gonna.
yeah.
read
So
it all.
basically, if I understood what you said from Mr. Earth's email to you, that if they don't accept it by Friday, it pretty much dies on the vine.
It could, and if somebody really wanted to, they could bring it back.
Okay.
But it sounds to me that it's been moved to, there's 150 bills ahead of it.
Gotcha.
can't guarantee anything. I guess we can make a little bit better, House Bill 111 to kind of, to give you that, but it talks about, and Jack knows about qualified immunity as a police officer. And I think they're just moving it, and the problem they're thinking about at this level is the fact that no one will run for an official capacity and nobody will want to be a government employee if you're subject to, you know, what you might think is a good thing ends up in the end not being a good thing. Somebody can personally sue you as well. That's what I understood it to be.
Okay.
Part of that, Naomi, is the qualified immunity. A government official, whether it be a selectman or any employee, acts as long as they act under the color of authority is the term. That they act within their guidelines and doing what's proper. They are subject to qualified immunity, so the lawsuit would go nowhere. Both, and they sue you as personally and as an official in your position. So if they do away with that, even if you're acting under the color of authority and you get sued, the possibility is they could sue you both ways. So there would be no immunity for that, even though you didn't act improperly.
Yeah, that'll definitely put a hamper on volunteerism.
It'll put
You're telling
a
me.
hamper on people wanting to be firemen, policemen, public works employees,
Yep.
or any other position in the, as far as government goes.
You guys too.
All right.
While you're on that, Naomi, the other thing is that's been batted around is House Bill 2, which has to do with funding for municipalities, and that's been up in the air, but it looks like it's going to go through, and it might mean more money in the block grants for us for the next term around in the new budget coming. They're still ironing it out, and it's going through the House pretty much, and it'll go up to the Senate.
Is that the one that does the 2% cap?
No,
No, I don't know where that was part of 111, and I don't know where it got dropped off because they haven't talked about it. They've talked so much more about the qualified immunity. They haven't really brought up the other part,
Okay.
well, the House bill
which
one's
is
going
what
to
I'm
be for,
interested in, really.
the other one's going to be for getting us block grants, like for Benji for his reconstruction money. That out of it comes from the
Mhm.
state.
Okay.
So,
All right. Okay, board members all set with House Bill 111 for now?
Well, yeah, for now.
yes.
Okay, well, thank you for the update. Manifest. Guess that brings us to the manifest, which I do have. Naomi, is the second half decided by us, or is that? Because it's got the second half,
Right, because
Yes,
you're not
but-
meeting on Monday the 12th.
okay, we're not, oh, that's right, okay,
So because you've gone to bi-weekly, when I get down a little further, we're probably gonna have to meet the 19th and the 26th just for, I'll tell you why.
okay,
But yeah, so you're not meeting next week per se,
okay.
why you have to approve payroll and expenditures.
Yeah, no, I remember why it's there, I just didn't know if we had officially moved to the bi-weekly or not, so.
Yeah.
Okay, move to order the treasurer to sign payroll accounts payables checks dated April 8th, 2021, as included in the following manifest. A payroll manifest of $81,943.94 for weekly longevity and bonus payroll. Accounts payable manifest of $55,946.92. Whereas school district 300,000, John Stark 250,000, for a total of $687,890.86. As there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for Monday the 12th, further order the treasurer to sign payroll checks dated April 15th, estimated to be about 70,000, and further order the treasurer to sign up to the amount of 75,000 for accounts payables that cannot wait until next scheduled meeting. The reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the board of selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the next scheduled meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call. Chairman Hippler, yes. Vice Chairman Meany.
Yes.
Selectman Burdick.
Yes,
Selectman Osborne.
Yes.
Selectman Van.
Yes.
Okay. Move to the minutes of 3:29. I have to go retrieve them, and you're gonna have to bear with me because this thing's gonna take a minute or six. Okay, anything on page 1?
Yeah, under public comment, Mr. Cochran had read a statement in, and he was also kind enough to email all of us. I believe his statement was verbatim with his email, and I think just for transparency and for clarity, I believe the contents of that email ought to be read in to the minutes, or copied into the minutes under his public comment.
I would agree. Anything else on page 1?
Clarity,
Okay.
please. So you're gonna take and we're gonna attach under public comment the verbatim of what he read that night?
Yeah, the email that he sent us, I believe he copied you on that, did he not, Naomi?
The email from Monday night, he did not copy. He only sent it to the 5U, but I have seen it.
Okay.
And I have it. So I'm
Okay.
just wondering to correct the minutes. So I give it to Karen and we'll put it in quotes as it was read.
Correct.
Yep, that sounds right. All right, page 2. Page 3. Four. And 5. I'll move
Make
to
a
approve
motion. Make a motion, we approve them as written,
as amended.
As amended.
as amended, rather, I'm sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, roll call. Chairman Hippel, yes. Vice Chairman Meany.
Yes,
Selectman Burdick.
Yes,
Selectman Osborne.
Abstain.
Abstain. And Selectman Van.
Yes.
All right. 4 yes, 1 abstention. Okay, brings us to administrators report.
All right, I believe you all have it and I actually do too this week. So yay. We got stapled to something else. So I'll start at the top. The e-subscribe, I'll get it to you next week. I forgot to do that actually for the first, but the quarter is the quarter. There's not an easy way of doing it, so it just takes a few minutes, but I'll do your e-subscribe to see, I don't know if we're up or down from the whole COVID thing. The radio communication is still open. Forest contract, you heard me explain my intent there, is to let the Conservation Commission go through it first. Then, we'll have it reviewed. We'll be back and forth, but I think the best thing to do is have a joint meeting and then have it one last time reviewed by Laura and then executed after that. The Zoom meetings, I've given you all the Zoom meetings I have for April. Not a dull moment. I will ask you, so on number 7 on reappointments, it's entirely up to you. You cannot do anything or not. So John Lawton is up for the Cable Committee. John Lawton does not want to take a 3-year term for the Cable Committee because he just thinks that's too long. Without him, that leaves 3 and 1 travels all the time, so it leaves 2. Therefore, we kind of don't have a committee. He said he would stay on for another year if you guys didn't mind that. And I told them I would ask if you could fill a 1-year spot just to keep the committee alive, because technically then you wouldn't have one if you didn't appoint him.
There's nothing saying we can't do a 1 year, right?
No, and that's what I explained earlier. I don't know what the other terms are. I know Doug was done last year. I don't remember Steve's and I don't remember Rachel's. Those are the only 3 you got on there, and John would make a 4th.
I make a motion to reappoint John Lawton to the Cable Committee for a period of 1 year.
I'll
second,
second it.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote. Chairman Hippler, yes. Vice Chairman Meany,
Yes,
Selectman Burdick,
Yes,
Selectman Osborne,
Yes,
and Selectman Van.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Building inspector, with Easter, I totally didn't know that they were gonna go and cut off the day early, so instead of Wednesday, it was Tuesday. And I was not there Tuesday, so I couldn't get the building department ad in. So that's gonna go in. So I had to extend the other side. That's why I said we're gonna have to meet the 26th, because that's the 2-week notice. So that'll go out in this Friday's paper, the Messenger. We'll put it elsewhere too. Chip was there on Friday. Chip was there on Monday, which is today. And then he'll be back for a few hours tomorrow to go over thing with Wendy. That seems to be, we're pulling it together very well. I appreciate the staff for helping. We're all supposed to be combined in here to do that.
Hey, Naomi, I got a question about Chip real quick. When he was employed, I don't want to say full-time, but before he retired, he would attend the planning board meetings. Is he still planning on doing that as
Nope.
his current role?
No, he only really wants to do the inspections, and then he was honestly, to be quite honest with you, this morning, he said he didn't know why he even said yes, because he would have rather stayed in bed.
All right, thank you.
We'll get through it. Arbor Day, we talked about, when Lisa was on. I don't think Lisa's not on anymore. Chase Park, we also talked about on the boat ramp. We're just kind of waiting. It's a 10-day wait now. And then 11, I sent you an email for my schedule. Under building and maintenance, Walker Roofing, I did have reached out. I still, though, do not have confirmation yet. It's supposed to be done by the end of April, I was told, so I'm just honestly keeping my fingers crossed and waiting to see. The town hall sign, I did get an email back from Clark Roberge and said that it's going to be 6 to 10 weeks for Swenson to cut those pieces. So he said the actual install will not happen until June 1st. So we've talked to Benji, and he's going to dig the 40-inch deep hole somewhere near the end of May, so that when Swenson and Mr. Roberge come in the 1st of June, we can have that sign up. So that's where we are on that one. I haven't done Eversource on number 7. Reservoir Drive, Benji's gone this week. Eversource, we talked about and gave permission, to trim whatever they needed to for trees. So what's happening now is every road they do, they send a postcard to the town. Today I got 3 more postcards, and what they need is a sign off so that I guess that that we're okay to let them do that. So I don't know how you want to do the postcards. I think I've got 5 or 6 of them on my desk. Do you want to have the chairman sign it? I know you agreed to have them all just trim the trees, or is it something you could give permission for me on your behalf to sign, so then I'm not holding them up for 2 weeks now as they come?
make a motion that we allow the town moderator, the town administrator rather, to sign those postcards to get them out in a timely
Okay.
fashion for cutting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote. Chairman Hippler, yes. Vice Chairman Meany,
Yes,
Selectman Burdick,
yes,
Selectman Osborne,
yeah,
and Selectman Van.
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one, I believe I sent you guys an email, and Sherry will probably add to it, the East Street barn that was a Gordon Brown, the red barn. A panel blew off. Sherry had gone up as soon as she got the email. She's put the piece of the metal roof inside. She has also taken and covered up whatever things were in there so they stayed dry. But I guess the plan is, what do you want to do next? How do you want to go about repairs?
Well, we, not so long ago, were talking roof repairs on that place, weren't we?
We were, I just, my personal, I know we have to fix it, but I think right now, I mean, I priced some things too, and building unfortunately is crazy, but we do what we have to do.
So, I guess what we got is a 99-year lease or something like that thing? Is that what we got on that? Because it's not
No.
actually the town's.
It was supposed to be for 99 years. But it was voted in by the town people, and I think it was something to do with a town lawyer wanted to do it on a 10-year, every 10 years.
Okay. All right, so what is the responsibility of us when it comes to that building? Full on maintenance, mowing, roof, siding, interior, everything, or how does that work?
I don't know how it works because we were never given anything. We were just asked to pay, I think, $1 a year or $1 a month or whatever. I don't know, but I have, had a brief discussion with a couple of the board members on the Historical Society. And we, at this point, I haven't talked to everybody, but it seems like everybody's that I have spoke to is in agreement that we should, pay either half the cost or some amount to put a new roof on it, whether we pay for half of it or all of it, whatever, but
We be historical?
yeah, meaning the Historical Society. And we've done that kind of stuff before. When we did the stone building inside, we paid for all the repairs on the inside of the building. So that came up to, I think, about 25,000 with what we did back in 2010 or 11 in there somewhere.
Okay.
So,
I'm just nervous with the fact that we got a default budget this year. I mean,
yeah,
does this qualify under government building and maintenance, or is this not a government building?
That brings up a good point, because most times when somebody leases something from somebody else for the leasee, then usually the leaser is responsible for the maintenance and repairs of their structure. So that brings up an interesting point in this particular instance. Are we responsible for it, or is the leaser responsible for it? It's
Well, I
like,
think
if
I
you
think
rent a
before any
place,
money's been spent.
I mean,
Yeah, I
if you
think-
rent a place, your landlord's responsible for some of it. So I mean,
Right.
that's the question.
Right, so I think we need to dig up the contract or
don't
town
think
vote,
this-
whatever it is, between, that was exercised between, the party and the town, and see exactly who does what with it. Again, I would agree with Selectman Van that, we're on default budget. Year's gonna be tight. We didn't put as much money as we would like to put into that government buildings fund. The year is still early, and I'm not saying that building doesn't have value to the town as far as preserving historical pieces that are in it, but we definitely got to consider all avenues and options.
But again, would this qualify under government building?
Correct. Absolutely. That's why I'm saying we need to review that contract between, Brown and us, and see exactly who does what to the building.
Yep.
Or who's responsible.
but I'm sure the Historical Society will pick up a chunk of this without any, problem.
Okay.
I don't think that's a problem. I can send an email out here in the next, today or tomorrow probably, and just ask what the board as a whole feels. They should,
Well, I don't think it'll hurt either, Sherry, to at least review that document and see exactly who's what.
yeah,
Because I mean, if it comes down to it and the town can't spend money on it, then our hands are tied,
yeah,
not saying that's the case, but I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if we at least start I mean, regardless, we all agree that the repairs need to be made, and it would probably be in our best interest to at least get a head start on at least getting the quotes. That won't cost us anything, and if anything, it puts us ahead of the game a little bit. So I'm thinking we ought to at least get three repair estimates for that roofing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a
have
good
question
idea.
On your three, so, but to get your apples to apples, I mean, I've heard metal tossed around, I've heard other things. What are you looking to put on there so that you can get 3 quotes?
Well, I
For me,
think
it's
metal
just
is on there.
repair the existing.
I don't know that you can really do that, John, because there's a lot of damage now. A lot of that old metal is lifting right up from the high winds that we had. So, if we get another probably high wind thing, you may have half that east side of the barn down on the ground, the roofing. Because a lot of it's bent up in the air. And the other thing is there's a lot of dry rot in that roof in the old section, that red section, the front closest to the road. And when I think Naomi's got a quote from, I think you got a quote a couple years ago, Naomi, for that, from which city? Which was a roofing company, and the owners live in where? Do you still have that?
I can look, I'm not sitting at my desk, I can look.
Yeah, no, I don't know, I don't remember. I thought that was a roof, complete roof done, but even that roofer said the same thing that I pointed out to him, that there's a lot of dry rot. It's an old barn. It's a couple 100 years old. So there's a lot of dry rot. And when you put whatever you put through there, I mean, screws are probably going to hold longer, but that whole roof was put on with a bunch of different size nails. So the nails just pulled right out and ended up, they're still in the metal, but they're not in the roof. So
My guess is that which city was done shortly after the complex was done, and there's no way they'll hold to that quote.
no, I don't
That
think
was a
so.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
So with this dry rot underneath, are we talking a sublayer as well as a roof, or?
Yeah, well, it's in pretty tough shape. I mean, I think if you're going to put a new roof on it, you're going to want to at least put, and it's metal, you would at least want to put some boards every 18 inches. So you're in the middle, so you can have some, or 16 inches, so you can have something to nail to.
Yeah, I would definitely want to see where
Yeah.
our responsibility lays with that building as far as the town.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking substantial investment as far as I'm concerned. And probably to the point of if the town is liable, then we just barely repair it with some screws and we put it on the warrant. Because the more discussion we have right now, the more I see more than $15,000 to $20,000 put a roof on that place. Especially with the cost of materials the way they are.
Yeah.
So if that's something the town has to be responsible for, then so be it. But if there's gray area, I'm not convinced.
Well, like I said, I'm sure the Historical Society will kick in some, a chunk of money for it.
No, and we appreciate that. We definitely appreciate it.
Okay.
But all right, so I would say 3 quotes. Naomi and board members, correct me if I'm wrong. 3 quotes to repair, and by repair I mean obviously put screws where screws are needed, to re-secure what's there, if at all possible, and if not, quote for complete metal roof replacement.
Okay.
Ricky,
Yes, sir.
maybe a thorn in somebody's side, but when they took down the old highway garage, they saved all that metal roofing that's sitting down there in the pit. I think that belongs to the town. I understand that Benji wanted to use it on couple projects and whatnot, but it seems though this is gonna be a priority project, possibility of using some of that.
We could definitely inquire into it.
Yep.
I mean, if Naomi's going to put it out to quotes, maybe she could get it for a 50-year architectural shingle on it, because it might come in about half the money. I mean, I know
Yeah,
there's
but-
metal there now, but you're probably going to have to put a whole new deck on that roof.
That's what I'm saying. If you gotta put a new deck on it, then where are we gonna be at? I mean, you know, plywood now is 50, 60, $70 a sheet.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
it's gonna be
I don't-
substantial investment.
I don't know what you could, pick up at, up in Henniker at the mill if you just put, regular rough sawn lumber down, because that's all that was ever on it anyway.
Okay,
That might be a lot cheaper than going out and buying plywood. I don't know. You have to check, but
okay. Anything further on the Brown building? Barn? Okay, Naomi, you all set with your report? That's
Yeah,
it?
I do have one other thing. Frank's not on tonight. He had called me. And if you
Okay.
remember the last time we did a memorandum of understanding or a memorandum of agreement.
Mhm.
Last week, we kind of brushed over it. So for the average taxpayer, they don't know what we talked about.
Okay.
He asked me if we could explain it. Is that I could do that for the minutes if you'd like.
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, so the agreement that we talked about was with the union and the town. And it was basically, it was to allow the lieutenant to have a modification of his schedule so that it would, so if he ended up working 12 hours, then the next day he could work 8 because they're supposed to do 10-hour shifts. To eliminate and not do overtime. So if he did it 12 hours, he would take an 8-hour day. This is just really an example. It's not saying it's going to happen. And it's the scheduling has to take place in the same pay cycle, so we aren't going to trying to keep track. And then it's basically to allow in Article 10.1 the flexibility of the lieutenant to accomplish the needs of the department in the town. So it's only the lieutenant and it's only flexibility and it has to be paid in the same cycle. So I just felt that, he made a comment that we hadn't, it was kind of like we briefed it, you approved it, you signed it. But there's the explanation of the MOU.
Okay.
MOA, it's what it's called. Memorandum of Agreement. So I told him I would explain that to him, but he is not on. So other than that, we have some correspondence. I believe you guys all have, if you want to take that up later.
Yep. Just make sure I get all my ducks in a row here. I know we all get quite a bit over the last few days. Does anybody want to start anywhere particular, or are we just gonna right down the line?
Go right down the line. I guess this.
Yeah.
Easy.
Okay, so we'll start with from last week. There was some questions asked regarding in regards to Mr. Cochran's statement that he made. And the questions, one of them was about the email that went to Ms. Davis. Obviously, the email to Ms. Davis should have been sent from Naomi's personal account because it was not sent in the capacity as a town administrator, and nor is the official pronouncement by the town aware. There was also a question if Ms. Davis is the only one that's ever been non-appointed, and that is not. There's been, she's not the only person that has not been appointed or reappointed to a board. And the town, there was also a question about the ethics committee. The town does have an ethics policy, but there's and board for that matter. But right now there is 0 volunteers to sit on it. So it's difficult to policy and implement and enforce. But if, we do have copies of that upon request that we can give out, the ethics policy that everybody signs. There was also accusation that the reason that she was not reappointed, Miss Davis was not reappointed, was because of her membership to the Ware Taxpayers Coalition. And I'm pretty sure that any member here can say 100% that that is not the reason why she was not reappointed. Not that particular, because she sits on that coalition. That was not the reason. So that was to clarify Mr. Cochran's statements and the email list that he gave us. I'm going to have to stop my video and move to the other one to read it. We got a couple today. Where are they? There's one right there. And this was requested to be read into the minutes, so we will do so. I know I blanked out, but unfortunately, I've only got one device, so bear with me. It's addressed to Naomi. Says, "Dear Ms. Bolton, I'm writing today in response to comments made at the BOS meeting on March 29th, 2021. After listening to the public comments, I would like to express my opinion about Lori Davis being appointed to the Conservation Commission in our town. Ms. Davis has shown a complete lack of regard to a large number of residents on Ware social media. She has repeatedly made condescending, disrespectful, and at times malicious comments. All of this is evident on the Ware Facebook pages. Ms. Davis claims that she is being attacked because she has a difference of opinion. Having a difference of opinion in politics and running of certain boards in small town is inevitable. However, dealing with those differences in a respectful way should not be hard. And it should be expected of people who are on committees or are elected in any position within our town. The only thing that Ms. Davis has shown to those who may disagree with her is malice. She gave us all a little sample of that malice when she publicly named those who either confronted her or disagreed with her. It is my opinion, as more than a 30-year resident of the town, that Ms. Davis should not be appointed to any committee or commission, not because I might disagree with her politics, but because I believe that she has not 1 ounce of respect or regard for the people who live here and who don't agree with her. She doesn't appear to have any desire to engage in meaningful conversation with people, and her only tactic is to interact with those people who might oppose her, is to degrade, insult, and attack them. This should not be the kind of conduct that we as Ware residents should accept from any town-appointed committee or commission member. I respectfully request that this letter be taken into consideration when the BOS or town administrator begins the process of appointing committee or commission members. We should strive to do better as a town and appoint members who will be able to show all respect to all residents, regardless of their positions or different issues. Kind regards, Jen Pavaglio." And we also have another letter that came to us a little later. That one's actually kind of towards me. Just a compliment and thank you for serving the town. Get out of this. And back to the meeting. Ta-da, I'm back. Is there any other correspondence that has been received by any member of the selectmen?
Yep, we received an email this morning regarding the Ware Patriotic Celebration. And
Yes.
it is included with that.
All right, let me go get that one. I know it's buried somewhere in here.
About 11:20 this morning, Ricky.
Yeah. There it is right there. Yeah, this one's pretty lengthy too. Naomi, did this resident ask to be written into the?
No, she just sent it along.
Okay.
It talks about, getting back to normal and
Yep.
pleading with us to consider the comments that she put in here to hold the patriotic this summer. Having kids like to see the parades, rides, the fireworks. I do have a reply to that, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so basically what she was looking, because we talked about it at our March 22nd or 29th, I think the 22nd. asking us to reconsider having it. But I think there's a lot that goes into it that I'm not sure that everybody understands. So I just want to say that that I've been in contact with the committee, and they're still exploring the options for a celebration. Although they understand that they need to ask the selectmen to use the property and approach the school also to use the property to see if we can get one pulled together. They're currently waiting on an update from the amusement company. And once they have that, it would require coordination of several different people. So at this point, it may not be able to take place until the fall though, because the owner of the amusement company, right now it's April, and it's going to depend on what kind of stipulations and guidelines that he's kind of waiting to see what will be handed out. So, you know, as much as everybody wants to do something and get out, it's not as simple as that. It really takes a lot of people and a lot of hands. So it's really, we're kind of waiting. Not that we don't want to have a celebration, but I think the likelihood of maybe looking where right now it's April, likelihood of getting something in for June or July is probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be closer to the fall.
Okay, so it's not completely off the table then, but kind of play it by ear.
And they'll come back and ask for the field request when they have more definitive of what's going on.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I had.
Any other board members have anything they'd like to add? Correspondence of the business?
Well, you did have a letter that came, I believe, from Kevin Cahill on a property up on Reservoir Drive.
Think that one should not be discussed in public where it's dealing with somebody's reputation. Boy,
Okay, I wasn't going to bring any other names up,
well,
just
I think
your
it would be,
contact.
I think it might be obvious at that point.
Yeah,
I think it'd behoove us not to.
Okay,
Yeah. Just a letter from a resident regarding a property on Reservoir Drive.
And I guess you could say it's been forwarded to the new building inspector, so.
Right.
Have him look at it.
Right. Okay, anybody else have anything else? And Naomi, we may need to contact IT. I remember last week I was having difficulties receiving emails.
Are you getting them?
What's that?
Are you getting them now?
I did not get the one for Reservoir. I had to have it forwarded to me.
Okay.
So I'm still not getting all of them.
Yeah, because the one that you got this
I didn't get that
afternoon,
one either.
the one you got this afternoon, for you, she had reached out to me and asked me if your email was still the same because it bounced back to her.
Okay, yeah, I know that when I was sending emails to board members, mine, and I think I just heard Selectman Osborne chime in, mine, my own, and his would get kicked back.
Okay. Yeah, I can have IT.
I would say that there has been some at a time because I've received some like for postings and letters and then try to open it, there's nothing there. So it cancels it. So I have to go the long way around to go into the town website to go see if I can retrieve some of the information.
I'll have him
It's-
verify everybody's and then have him clean it up. I'm not sure why it would have changed. It shouldn't have, but I can do
Right.
that.
I mean,
Spotty.
if it's Yahoo, I can use another email account, not a big deal.
Okay. All right. No, I'll have him look at it first.
Okay.
Motion, we adjourn.
Second,
Threaten me with a good time. All right, moved and seconded, all in favor, roll call, Ricky, yes, Jack,
yes.
Sherry,
yes.
John Osborne,
Yeah.
John Van.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Good night, all.
everybody. Good night.